This John Tortorella situation with the Vegas Golden Knights is bizarre. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like it, and I wanted to dive into what happened as well as the formalized repercussions as a result, because John Tortorella just did something dumb. You see, last night the Vegas Golden Knights ended up destroying the Anaheim Ducks 5-1 in game number 6 of their second round series. They are now advancing to the Western Conference Finals, where on Wednesday, May 20th, they'll be playing off in Game 1 against the Colorado Avalanche. Lots of time to prepare, but for now, maybe it's just time to settle down and get your nerves back in check. But after Vegas ended up winning 5-1 over the Ducks in Anaheim yesterday, John Tortorella declined to speak with the media. The Golden Knights also didn't open the dressing room after the game. They brought one player into a side room to speak, along with two who spoke at the podium. Jesse Granger, who, of course, writes about the goalies and the Golden Knights for The Athletic, has been covering the NHL for 9 years, and he has never seen either of those things happen once. First, the coach deciding not to speak with the media, and second, the dressing room not being open to the media after the game, just selecting a few guys to be placed out there and to give their sentiments on what happened. This obviously is very weird behavior from a winning team, a team that advanced to the third round and should be all high up on their horse because they just won. There's a lot of positivity to go around for a winning team, and generally speaking, these players and the coaching staff, they'd be happy to share what happened. But not Tortorella. You know, at first, when I saw this, I was kind of thinking like, hey, what in the world is going on? Like, did something happen? Was there controversy? Did John Tortorella get pissed off? And from what I gather, it doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary happened in game number 6 yesterday. Torts just decided, yeah, I just don't want to do the media. Some of the replies go out there and say, hey, and they wonder why nobody likes them, LOL. The most unlikable organization in hockey history. I can't imagine how horrible you'd have to be a fan of this team. Because they know they got carried by the rest. Okay, we're not going to necessarily say that. Farhan Lalji said, Torts has never really understood that in an effort to protect his guys from the noise, it actually creates more of it. And he's only getting worse with every final job opportunity. I support Tortorella here. The media have made the mistake over the years of creating this false importance that these insanely talented people need them, that none of this would be on air if it weren't for them, that they are more important than the players and the teams collectively, almost like they want you to believe that they're out there on the ice with them. They let you know that they think this based on how they react and write articles if a team decides it's better for them to not. Okay, this is a ridiculous tweet. And Marco D'Amico goes out there and says, yeah, they're obligated to do the media by the NHL collective bargaining agreement, bud. It is very important to the NHL, and they had it codified with the NHLPA for a reason. The NHL needs all the press it can get. And this is part of the thing that I think some people don't realize. The media is an obligation. You're a professional sports team that makes money through entertainment, advertising, and fans. You need media. You can't run your own sports league without the media. And so John Tortorella straight up denying to do media yesterday is a pretty big deal. Mark Spector provided an alternate perspective earlier this morning. Like clockwork, when Tortorella moves, he'll be on a media panel taking a media paycheck from a media outlet. He'll have time for the media then. He just doesn't need him right now, is all. Okay, so Mark Spector, he is straight up going for the jugular here. When Tortorella leaves the Golden Knights, he'll be on the media. He'll join some TV station. But for right now, he doesn't need the media. Calling out that hypocrisy tenfold. And furthermore to that point, it does seem like the NHL, they made their decision because the NHL has docked the Vegas Golden Knights a second-round pick for a flagrant violation of the league's media policy. Coach John Tortorella has also been fined $100,000. That is a brutal fine, dude. Like, you talk about all the NHL players that get suspended or they get the maximum fine allowable under the CBA of $5,000. John Tortorella's been fined $100,000. These coaches don't normally make the millions and millions like some of the players do. So, look, I'm not saying that John Tortorella is desperate for money by any means, but this is a pretty big dollar amount. The NHL announced today that as a result of flagrant violations of the 2026 Stanley Cup Playoffs media regulations following Game 6 of their second-round series against the Anaheim Ducks on Thursday, May 14th, the Vegas Golden Knights will forfeit a second-round pick in the 2026 Upper Deck NHL Draft. Is that really what it's called? It's called the Upper Deck NHL Draft? Is that still a thing? Well, I guess it is, eh? In addition, Golden Knights head coach John Tortorella has been fined $100,000. The imposition of these penalties comes after previous warnings were issued to the club regarding their compliance with the media regulations and other associated policies. Vegas has been offered the opportunity to appeal these penalties to the commissioner's office. That appeal would be held in person next week in New York. So, yeah. Seems like this may have been on the cusp of happening earlier, and the Golden Knights were warned by the National Hockey League, hey, comply with our media policies. Speak to the media. Have your guys available. And then Tortorella went out there and did this. Yeah, he's getting fined $100,000. The Golden Knights are losing a second-round pick. I guess the expansion team honeymoon is over now. Wow. Hit a guy in the numbers, putting him straight into the boards, potentially leaving him paralyzed? $5,000 fine. Don't talk to the press? $100,000 fine. I guess it really goes to show you where the NHL has its priorities. They really care about public perception and media opportunities more so than the well-beings of the players themselves, it seems. It's crazy. They can just take your second-round pick? Yeah, that seems like it, eh? Torts should say 2 words during every post-game interview now. No comment. He also did not shake the Ducks players' hands. The price of insufferable arrogance should be higher. I did see this as well, too. Tortorella quickly shook the hand of the Anaheim coach and then just left. Didn't even bother getting into the handshake line. But then again, you know, some head coaches would want you to not do that. Oh, it's for the players. It's not for the coaches. With that said, I'll leave you with this. We have Thomas Drance going out there and giving his take. I really like this one. And then the Vegas Golden Knights actually responded to the entire thing, too. John Tortorella is clearly a good person, Drance tweeted. Staffers that have worked for him admire him. He loves dogs and seems to understand what really matters. And also, the risk you take on when you put him in a position of leadership is through the roof, and it's wild that teams keep on doing it. Torts pulled off the biggest first-round upset in NHL history with the Blue Jackets in 2019, and did it in a sweep against Tampa Bay. Yeah, that makes sense. Torts did something arbitrarily and wildly unprofessional that significantly impacted his organization. Yup, that sounds about right, too. Might I remind you, Tortorella was the guy that tried to go after the Calgary Flames head coach in Vancouver, and they had to install a divide between both of the locker rooms and their tunnel entrances because of it. Anya says, why do you feel the need to put the qualifier that he's a good person? Why can't you just say, hey, here's the risk when you invite him into your organization? I mean, we're talking about an employee at work. Drance said, because he is a complicated guy, and the extent to which people that have worked with him like and admire him is part of what makes him so complicated. He's not purely a loose cannon. Finally, the Vegas Golden Knights made this tweet. The Golden Knights are aware of today's announcement from the NHL regarding the post-game media availability following Game 6 in Anaheim. The organization will have no further comment. That's it, eh? Nothing to say. With that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this John Tortorella situation with the Vegas Golden Knights? He's just here so he won't get fined? Nah, he's not here, so he will get fined. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.